Welcome to the Tearing It Up podcast. I'm your host, Taryn. We'll be tearing it up, tearing it down, and tearing it apart, dissecting all things related to those who deviate from the standard. From leaders of their industry to leaders of mediocrity, and maybe a gear review or two thrown in. We shoot the shit and let the conversations flow, so if that's not your style, this may not be for you. Otherwise, listen in. Hope to light a fire in you somehow. That was really loud in my ear today.
I guess the cord's working.
Yeah, but I switched back. Switch back to the original one because I just don't. The other one was feeling like I couldn't, like it wasn't hearing as loud. I don't know. I just need an all new cord, but it's interesting. These audio cords, I think that's just what they're called, audio cords. Yeah, just don't use them anymore. You're not plugging your headphones into the TV or into the computer. Everything's Bluetooth. So all the ones that we have around are just old, I think is the problem that I'm running into. Or they're made for like a TV, so it has a big notch at the end where it doesn't fit into my headphone well. But yeah, so anyways, welcome. So happy that we're here again. Just 1 week. Cheers. We both got some hot toddies.
'Tis the season.
'Tis the season. So it just got pretty cloudy today. And later in the day, it wasn't cloudy this morning, but I think there's some moisture moving in on us this weekend, which is good. I haven't even looked at the weather or the forecast because I just can't really do that because I don't really care. And I don't want to get disappointed if it doesn't do what it says it's going to do. But okay, well, this is relative. I would say we really need it to snow. I really want it to snow. Others may not give a flying fuck if it snows more, but I'm like, yeah, this snow is getting stale.
Yes, very much so. Same thing happening up here.
Yeah, we need some new stuff. We're still waiting for that fucking second snowmobile, but it's moving along on its status. It's been built. Then it just needs to get on the truck and start heading out west. And then once it gets to the shop, it will just need its handlebars and skis, and they've assured Andrew as soon as we see your name show up, it's going to be one of the first ones we get to. So yeah, hopefully that's within the next week, just so I can start going out again and with him. Yes, craving it so bad. Me and my friend Tess talked about going out this morning, and then Andrew ended up going out up north to the Buttes with a couple buddies. So I was like, oh man, but it was honestly probably worked out for the better in the fact that I went to the gym with my friend Jackie, so I got a membership at one of the gyms, and then was able to come home. So hopefully get on that routine of getting out of the house first thing in the morning. Like I said, that's something I was missing from my life, is just being able to get out of the house right away instead of sit right down and start working. Oh crap, I just opened a very leaky pen. But yeah, so even though it sucks having to get up and drive 30 minutes to go to the gym and maybe just come home to work, like I said, it just jumpstarts my day at least a little bit better. So yeah, we'll see if we can get a good kind of schedule and routine going on.
I'm working on that as well.
It's hard, man. And like I said, I don't know if I mentioned this the last time or not, but I just feel guilty sometimes of going to the gym because I was like, well, even though I can't go snowmobiling, I should go out cross-country skiing. I should be outside and enjoying as much as I can of the snow and winter. For someone who complains all the time about not having the chance to do it, why am I not doing it when I can? But I do miss the gym and working out. I also had a friend to do it with, whereas when I'm just skiing out my door, I'm doing it alone, and it's just way less motivating. I really want to get out and enjoy it, but it's just, when I'm just by myself, sometimes it's just not as fun, and like I said, as motivating. So
enjoyable. Yes.
Yeah.
I hear you. I love doing things with friends. I know. Effect that gets added to the situation, the scenario.
It's just a little more fun. The energy changes, especially if I'm tired, right? And I just wake up and go out, but I'm moving real slow because I'm tired. And then I'm like, well, I'll only, be out here for 15 minutes or something, where if I just had a friend to meet up with, we can talk, laugh, do whatever. makes the time go by a little bit faster, or not faster, I guess. So it just makes you want to be out there longer. And enjoy
or it
it.
makes it so that there's like no time. You know what I mean? You're not counting the clock or
right. I'm not like, okay, did I do a mile yet? Like, can I go in now? But I would like to make the effort to go out more and just take advantage, like I said, of having these new skis and the ability to just walk out my door. I'm like, this is great. And I thought about calling my neighbor today, but I didn't really have the time once I got home. I've been working pretty much just until we got on here. So because I did go to town to go to the gym and stopped at the grocery store and stuff on the way back. So I was like, that's the thing. Really, it's just the fucking time, man. How do you squeeze it all in? But that actually reminds me of, so I listened to this podcast today, and I missed the reference of where this example or whatever metaphor or something came from, besides like a professor doing it to his students. But he had a jar, so it's about time and fitting in like all the big things and all the little things and how do you do it all. And I don't know if the way I explain it is really going to come across like great or understanding. But so he has this jar and he puts a few big rocks in it, fills it to the top, and asks the students, do they think it's full? And they all say yes. Then he pours sand in the jar, and so the sand fills in all the little cracks that between the big rocks and the glass of the jar or whatnot. And yes, the students, okay, well, is it full now? They all say yes again. Then for a third time, he adds something and he adds in water. The water really fills in all the little cracks, condenses the sand, whatnot, and asks the kids or students, whatever, is it full? And they say yes. And he made the metaphor or analogy rather that this jar is like life. So if your big rocks are the big most important things in your life, like family, friends, like having fun or whatever it is, if you put those in the jar first, you're able to fill up the other spaces with all the other stuff that get less and less important. But if you were to fill that jar up with the sand and the water first, there would have been no room for the big rocks. Yeah. And the little stuff would be, I'm using pretty much verbatim about what this chick said on her podcast, but little stuff would be, being on social media, watching TV, doing really trivial, non-important things. And if you fill up that jar with that stuff first, then yeah, where's the time for the big stuff that you really care about? So, yeah. And it did really resonate with me, of just prioritizing is the main thing here, the main lesson out of this, that even if it comes to, I was actually thinking on my drive up, like, okay, I should just go write some stuff down right now. Hey, shush. Because like, what are the big things? Sometimes you do really need to write it out and think about it. Obviously, there are things that are, just obvious right in your face, these important things. My kid, my dog, my boyfriend, husband, girlfriend, wife, whatever it is, those are the important things. And what are these little things that I don't need to allocate much time to, and that they'll find their way into my life when they should. Yeah. So I was, just like kind of thinking a lot about that. Like maybe it would help me to write some stuff out, and that would help me prioritize my days, even just little stuff of, like tomorrow, for instance, okay? Or theoretically, because I work all day, but what would be my biggest priority or the thing that mattered most to me? It's my health and fitness. So going to the gym or getting outside and going for a ski, like these things are really important to me. So I'm going to put that at number one. Mm-hmm. And then what is around that I don't need to spend much time on? How can I make sure I'm at least getting that main priority thing done? And it is hard though when work is not necessarily like ideally one of my big rocks, but it has to be, right? We have to work, so it has to be in there. But there's also, it's not really like I can move it around much anyway, especially when I'm in the store. Like that is what I'm going to do tomorrow, is be in the store from 7:30 to 4. So that is a huge rock. Now, what can I fit next to that? Can I get up at 6 a.m. and go or 5:30? and go to the gym, and do a little workout and then be able to shower or whatever and get coffee and go to work. Like, yes, but I just have to get back on that routine of getting up and getting out the door. So I think at least now that I have a gym membership, then maybe that will help, because at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to go cross country skiing. People do it. That's great. Good for you. I'm not going to wake my ass up.
Calling your ass and being like, we're waking up at 6 a.m.
Yeah. I'm not going to fucking go outside in single digits by myself and walk around in circles. And then have to, make breakfast, lunch, blah, blah, blah. But I will be able to prep lunch and breakfast and get out the door by 6 o'clock in the morning or a little bit earlier and get to the gym and work out. Like, theoretically, I gotta I would be able to. So
theoretically,
starting to try and look at my day like that. The harder part of trying to incorporate the gym more is like doing it at this with my friend Jackie, and we have different schedules. So trying to figure out when we can get to the gym, but also I have morning times to be able to do some other stuff. And that's a bit harder because I've committed to her of like, let's do it a few times a week. But
when you have an accountability buddy, it is a freaking game changer. I am like my greatest self when I have an accountability buddy.
Same.
Don't have it in me to wake up at 6 a.m. on my own unless someone's meeting me there, or like I really need to get it in.
Yeah. And that's what CrossFit was for me, was my accountability buddy, because they were classes and I'd sign up. However, it was also just as easy to unsign up, cancel that reservation and not show up if I woke up and not feeling good, if I didn't sleep well, because that was always I can't really say an excuse, because I think sleep is very important and recovery and whatnot. So why would I? Yeah, if I didn't, but if you don't sleep well, I mean, your body kind of acts just like it is in a hangover. It's craving like sugar, greasy food, just all these bad things, because it's having the same effects as like having toxins in your body. And so why would I go do a high intensity workout when my body is just not set up for it? I'm just causing more damage. However, that's just not what our society talks about or impounds in your head. It's just like, no, just do it, whatever. Do it when you're tired. That's when you know it works, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, no, to an extent, right? When you're working out and or doing a cardiovascular activity and you're getting to that point where you're getting really tired and you can push past this boundary, there's a certain point in time that yes, you are gaining now. Like in the long term, you are expanding your endurance, your cardiovascular system, things like that. But there's a big difference between just like pushing yourself ragged, and especially at our age, and I feel like as women, that if you want to actually see results in your training, then fucking sleep and nutrition are like really number one.
Yeah, the big rocks, man. I really love that analogy. And when you break it down in a day-to-day structure like your schedule, that's huge. Like it really helps you put it into perspective. And
it does, and it all sounds good and great and like an awesome plan, but what I have a hard time doing is even seeing that stuff through, where like every night am I gonna sit down and write out how my next day looks. It would be very beneficial for me to do that, and I would like to, but I just don't fucking do it. I don't stick to it, and that drives me nuts that I do not stick to these things that I know help me out, like writing lists and doing the thing. But I don't know, maybe I will try that. Maybe that's what I'll just implement, is the night before, like writing out what my top goals are for the next day. And that's also a common theme that I've heard amongst people when the conversation comes to burnout or staying on task, is that instead of having a to-do list that has 20 things on it, you write your like top three priorities or whatnot, and that's it. Because then you're focusing on just those. Your mind's not bouncing around between the 10 other things or whatever they may be. And it makes it more digestible. You're not getting like paralyzed by overwhelm by seeing this giant to-do list. You see 3 things, you're like, cool, I can do this. Then once they're done, everything else is just like extra credit almost. So yeah, just breaking things down into smaller goals, and that's how they say anyways, an age-old fucking saying about goals, make them smart, like timely and attainable and all this, and
Yeah.
small, like
Day by day,
yeah.
bite off
But
a little at a time.
it's all shit I, preach to people's clients as well. And again, you
Start
just practice what
biting
you
down
preach,
at our
right?
list, man.
Yeah,
Let's make a list and start biting down on it. I did
totally.
I did an interior house project thing based off of the months of the year and the beginning of the year, and I have not done very well. But
Well,
times
it's
do.
only February.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm feeling good about my exercising for the last 2 days, consistently, and I'm hoping to maybe do it tomorrow too. So waking up
Yes.
early and getting out and doing the thing and whatever that thing is, it's like, oh, it helps so much.
Yeah. And like with about accountability buddies, I mean, that's also another thing I talk a lot about with just personal training and whatnot, and with online training, because a lot of people, are skeptical of it. Just like me, as far as if I were to, because I've bought programs plenty of times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, did a couple workouts and now I'm not doing it. But
Yeah.
these programs were not people on the other side.
Yeah.
It was like, here's a printout and do this. I didn't have access to messaging them or being held accountable for getting it done. They got my money. That's all. Like, it's fucking over. I never had contact with them in the first place. But that's what I just really try to like hammer down to people about what I do with the option of remote training. Is like, you're getting a real person. I'm talking to you like multiple times a week. I know your schedule and am texting you, or like either you're supposed to text me when your workout's done, and if I didn't hear from you, because you're like, for one client that I have, her schedule kind of fluctuates, so I'm like, okay, you text me after you get it done, because I don't have yours like really written down, and my schedule changes too. So if I'm like, wait, did you do it Tuesday this week or Wednesday this week? And if I don't hear from you, like I text you like, so how'd it go? Did you get day 2 in? And she's like, no, I couldn't today because this came up. Like I ended up having to take the kids to school or something. My husband had an appointment. So tomorrow is my day 2. I'm like, great, perfect. And so we were talking and she was just saying how much that is helping her, because she was apprehensive about it. And I'm like, yeah, I've thought about, even with you, of trying to be accountability buddies where it's like, okay, we're going to do this Peloton class, maybe not live together, but like,
Yes. I've
let's
been
do
thinking
it.
about you as I've been Pelotoning the last 2 days in a row consecutively.
I miss it. And so the other day
I
I woke
miss
up,
you in it, man.
yeah, I really miss it.
I
I'm
got
hoping that maybe when we get some heaters for the container, because
Yeah,
it would be
buddy.
ideal to have them to be able to thaw out the snowmobiles as well, and keep and dry them out a little bit after like big snowy deep days, and then I'm like, cool, if we had that, then I'd be able to at least turn that on and use my analog spin bike in the container and not completely freeze. Because the other day I did not sleep well at all, woke up at like 5, and I was just like, man, there's really kind of nothing for me to do besides like lay here,
Yeah.
because we live in a fucking trailer. So I don't want to get up and start doing sit-ups on the ground with the dogs jumping all over me and causing ruckus. But if we were at the house in town, I would have been like, all right, can't sleep, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go do a Peloton class, whether it was a
Yeah.
spin or ended up being like a yoga class or whatever. And so like, I miss having that. Now I can at least be like, well, just go to the gym, I guess, even though
Yeah.
it's a fucking long ass drive, but whatever.
Yeah.
So um but that's good to hear that you're back on
Yeah.
it. So uh
Yeah, it feels good. It feels really good. My energy level is great. I don't know if it was because of the sun we got today or what.
all of it, my friend and I were talking about it today, of how just energy levels are so much better after working out. I've definitely had workouts where I was like afterwards like, oh, well, I'm beat, like I
Yeah.
don't feel good and energized now, but there was still a certain part of me mentally that felt better that I did something instead of didn't. So it has so
Post
many.
workout high
Yeah. um
or
speak
lightheadedness, whatever you want to call it.
yeah, totally.
Need
Um,
for calories.
Man, I actually learned something real fucking interesting,
Oh,
and
okay.
well, I can't really explain it well. So I mentioned last week that I am an ambassador for Ned, the company making all the CBD products. And so it's really cool because they set all their ambassadors up with an education call like right off the bat, and they talk with their like education developer person who is just completely totally versed in all things hemp. And so it was like an hour long phone call, and she started to explain something about the runner's high and actually where it stems from versus where everyone thinks it stems from. I'm like, fuck, I wish I would have been able to write some of this stuff down, but I was like actually doing the phone call from my truck. But she did send a follow-up email that has a bunch of resources. So I need to look through that so I can kind of dig out and see what it was that she mentioned about that. Because I was just like, so many things she had to say, I was just blown away from it, and a lot of it had to do with the endocannabinoid system that's within our bodies. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I didn't know that our body had that. I thought that system was like what was like
Face.
from the CBD, from the hemp. Um
Yeah, dude,
I'm
it's in us, man.
Yeah. So it's just crazy the stuff I learned from that. And my mellow magnesium packet arrived today, but down in town. So I don't have it yet. I'm like, oh man, I'm out of my other magnesium. I really wanted to be able to take it tonight, but I can't wait to try. And then I learned just a lot about their other products. So they have like daily blend, sleep blend, a hormone like balance blend, all these things just to take daily and just support your body in so many ways other than, yeah, I was just like, wow, it's not that I've had a skewed view of CBD thinking it only does like one thing, like it's your body high or something, you forget about your aches and pains. I know that there's so many other benefits from it, and especially depending on like how exactly or what all is activated in the product or whatever that you have. But
Yeah.
I still didn't know that like intricacies of it all. I'm just like, this is amazing, and I just
Yeah.
want to grow like outdoor hemp plants now, like not
Yes, fish.
not marijuana to smoke the pot. I want like
Like
CBD.
when people see you growing those things, they're like, "Oh man, they're growing pots." So you kind of got to keep it on, like you got to hide it because it's like a taboo thing. But
Yeah, I feel
the
like
people who are
around.
out stealing and poaching marijuana plants aren't, you know what I mean? It's just it takes a certain, I don't know.
And like it just depends on what you're growing it for. And
Yeah.
besides, if you're growing a few plants in your yard, whether it's for the hemp and the CBD and all the other stuff or the THC, then the odds are, and you're just like out there doing it, like not covering it or doing anything, odds are it's probably just for personal use anyway. So who fucking cares?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
um, but I think we'd have space to do that, and they're pretty low maintenance. I mean, we don't have water really. That's the biggest thing. So, but yeah, the way she was talking about it, I'm like, I've definitely worked in the industry, so I know what it takes to grow indoor stuff, but I don't, and outdoor, but
yeah.
I was just like, I never really thought about actually doing it for hemp or CBD or anything, and like just fun stuff you can make out of the plant in general, like the
Yeah.
whole fucking plant, and how
Yeah.
how regenerative it can be to the soil too, was
Yes.
what I was like, oh,
Yes.
cool. Yeah.
Bring
But
it back.
yeah.
Gotta
But so
give back.
I use a rub already that a friend of mine makes from Tahoe Petrichor, but Ned has some different rubs too, and we talked about that, and I was like, super interested to hear about how actually it works, because I'm every time I do use it, I'm like, is this, how much of it is in my mind, how is this
Right.
actually soaking through into my muscle or joint or whatever.
Yeah.
And she mentioned it with menstrual cramps. and like using it for that. I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad you said that, because sometimes when I have really bad cramps, I have been doing that and I've been totally like, there's no fucking way this is helping like those cramps, like those are deep. And she's like,
Yeah.
no, like it's helping. I was like, oh yeah, all right.
Those
I
are
am
deep cramps, man.
I am stoked.
God.
Um, but so speaking of
Yeah.
like the rubs for recovery and whatnot, I had my boxing and barbells course this past weekend in Sacramento, and I was fucking sore. I still am, because then I went to the gym after being sore and just got more sore. But
Keep it up. Keep it up.
but it was yeah, it was awesome. I was nervous because like I said, I have no boxing experience whatsoever. And with real boxing, not just fitness boxing, there's a lot of footwork involved. You're not just standing in one place, like punching 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, looking like a spaz or something. I mean, I was looking like a spaz for sure either way, but I was like, dude, I don't do aerobics or Zumba or anything because I can't move all these things at once. Like when I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it, it's the thing. Like if you're
I'm
dancing,
surprised. I'm surprised you can cross country ski because even that is like all the parts and
I
things.
can't. That's the thing. that's
Working on it. You're working on
That's
it.
exactly why I can't, because I'm just like, you move this and this at the
Same.
same time, like what?
Yeah.
Um,
That's
but
why I'm like, skis? No,
mhm.
I'm good with the one board as
Yeah,
opposed to two skis, two poles, helmets, goggles, gloves, and pants, and the thing. I don't know.
so many more moving parts for sure with
Yeah.
skiing.
I'll stick with the
But
one board for now. Anywho, sir.
yeah, so it was it was good. I learned a lot, but I just fucking felt so dumb and out of place at times, which again, you're always your own like worst critic or whatnot. And I felt no judgment or anything by anybody else. It was just like, God, I feel like this is just crazy.
Yeah. And
And
when was the last time my body has moved like this? And
never, I mean, like,
yeah,
not like that. Like, okay, wrestling's just totally different.
yeah,
For me, I mean, yeah, you're like your body moves in all sorts of ways, you get twisted up like a pretzel, blah blah blah.
yeah.
But again, the movements just aren't coordinated. Like to
Mhm.
me, like they feel, and I mean, boxing will become fluid, and it is fluid for people, and it looks fluid when you watch it. But for me, it feels very um like stutter steppy, like almost like watching a old school movie that's in frames, like choo 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 choo, like 1, 2, 3, 4, instead of like just. And it's fine because I'm a beginner, and I feel like this actually was one of the first things that I've done where I gave myself a lot of grace and was like, okay, if you do not pass the test on the
Yeah.
first day, and you get an email saying she'd like a video, like wants you to work on a couple things and get and send a video in redoing the combo of the day and teaching it, like that is totally fine, because this is the really first fucking time you've ever done this. Like, yes, I've taken a class of hers online, but that was 2 almost 3 years ago. And when I was doing that, she was watching everybody on the Zoom, so she would definitely give feedback, but not shit that I remember or anything, or continued to
Or couldn't
practice.
regurgitate.
Yep. So
Father,
because there was so much fucking information on
dude, I
all the days,
bet.
but yeah, but by day one, so we were there for working out, doing learning stuff for a few hours, and then went to lunch, and on the way after lunch had to teach the combo of the day, which was 6 moves, punches, like all put together. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't even know if I can remember the damn thing. um but it went better than I thought, but it's
Yeah.
still like, yeah, had stuff to work on. And yes, I did not pass the first test of it, but like I said, I have only been doing this for a couple of hours before I was like supposed to do it well enough. So I don't even fucking care, as long as I just now keep myself accountable and work on it at home to get my video in and pass the second assessment, which is just hard for me to do because again, it's helpful to have mirrors. And so there was mirrors everywhere, and she kept telling me like, look in the mirror because like you really need it, and it really really helps. And I found it very interesting that I had a really hard time looking in the mirror because doing yoga, and lifting, like I love to have mirrors, and because I use it so much for my own form and checking in. But doing the boxing course, I could not look at myself. And I don't know why. It's like, and I think it's because maybe when I look in the mirror doing the other things, I'm like really focused on what it is. If I'm doing a fucking row or something, making sure my back is flat, I'm looking at that. But with the boxing, I'm like, what am I looking at? I'm just looking myself in the eyes. Like, and it feels really weird. And so I definitely
in the mirror.
yeah, so I just felt like I kept like looking down at my feet to make sure they're like actually moving like with me, or paying attention to what other people were doing. And I found that hard too, focusing on what I was doing, because everyone else, most of the people there had some experience in boxing or other fighting, and maybe it wasn't up to this level of boxing, but there were a few people around and they were moving like fast, and I just felt like I would find myself just trying to keep up with pace, but not technique. And all of a sudden I'd just be like doing weird shit just to like be at the same spot as them in the line. But I'm like, oh my God, I skipped 5 things. And I'm just like, okay, I know how it feels when people are in a class and trying to keep up. And I'm, as the instructor, I'm like, okay, Julie, like chill out, like slow down, because you're not doing anything right now. You're just like throwing yourself into a fit. I'm like, yeah, I am definitely being that person. So it was
But
just, yeah,
also, beginners are a part of courses and classes and doing
yeah.
things, like you
Mhm.
have to like leave room for modifications. You have
Yep,
to acknowledge it
exactly.
all
Yeah,
at different levels, man.
exactly. And like I said, no one was up to like, her standard, the teacher's standard. Not
Whole nother type of training.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone had stuff to learn, and everyone was expecting that, and no one had any kind of ego or anything like I know what I'm doing or nothing like that. Everyone was really really great, and learned so much. And even though as I was like watching all these people move fast, I didn't find myself getting in this like overwhelming place where I have gone usually before, like, oh my God, everyone knows what they're doing and I have no fucking clue. I was just like, well, here we are. Like, too late now, I'm fucking here. So like, we just have to make the best of it, and I gotta like do what I can and just learn as much as possible. And the hardest part is going to be leaving this course and continuing to work on my shit so that I can feel like I can take it to other people, because right now I'm like, yeah, there's no chance. I mean, I could teach like 2 things maybe, very simple things, and but that's all I feel comfortable with. And so I'm like, yeah, I just need to do it. But again, being in the position of where, like, when am I going to do that? When am I going to do it by myself and video myself and watch it and then
Part
correct
also
myself?
part of prioritizing is like what you want, but you don't know what you want. But
Mhm.
you just create this like you just create your environment. Like you have a certain way of doing something. Any hazer.
Yeah, I and that's going to be on my list, is prioritizing learning and continuing my education with this course. So day 1, I was a little bit sore. It's also okay, awkward for me. I brought it up. The boxer stance, we were being taught in the orthodox stance, which is your left foot forward, right foot back, and you punch with your left hand first. And for me, that's very opposite because I am goofy footed.
Yeah.
My right foot goes forward with everything. I understand like my right hand's still stronger and it's meant to be in that orthodox position. But the stance was awkward. And from wrestling, uh, you're taught to be square.
Mm-hmm.
And with boxing, like your shoulder should kind of be to the side. I had a very hard time, like kind of keeping to my side. And some of my feedback from her was like bending my knees more, because I had a tendency to lock them out, which I do in a lot of my sports, which is very frustrating and interesting to me, because I should have bent knees and fucking everything, snowboarding and whatever, but that's my problem, is locking my knees out. And I think it's just for I don't know, hyperextending them all the time. They're just fucked up,
Yeah.
and don't want to stay bent. But with the boxing, I think that I was having a hard time keeping them bent because when I did, I'd have the tendency to be too low, like in that wrestler stance. So I was like having a hard time. I was like, how do I fucking bend my knees and not be like too
Yeah.
low? So it's just like, yeah, it was a
Honing
lot of getting
skills.
rid of um habits that I had from other activities. And so how do I learn this new thing when my body is so ingrained to move a certain way? And I had brought that up with how even teaching in the environment that I'm in, like in Tahoe, where there's a lot of people who ski or snowboard, and you're not thinking about your dominant hand or thinking about your dominant foot.
Yeah.
Um,
Or your
but a lot,
dominant eye.
yeah.
Um,
And a lot of people are regular, so they have no problem with their left foot being forward. But like I said, I'm right-handed, but I'm goofy-footed. People like my right foot goes forward, and a lot of people their back leg is their stronger leg. That's why they're regular. But I'm just a fucking goofball all the time. Gotta make things hard. So
honey, same. Oddballs out. That's why we kick it.
yeah, totally. So after day one, my calf was a little bit sore, my back calf, my right calf. I think everyone's was because your right heel's like constantly elevated a little bit with those bent knees. And I had a
Mhm.
little bit of soreness in my elbow, which I was like, oh, I must be like really hyperextending in those punches then, which
Mhm.
isn't good. Day,
Totally.
yeah, day two, all of a sudden my left leg got really fucking sore. Uh, whole left leg, all of it. I was like, fuck, okay, well, I was obviously putting too much weight on that as well.
Yeah.
But
And
but
good to
yeah,
know those things because if I was feeling that, I don't think I would be like, oh, it's because I'm doing this or that.
yeah, you're just like I'm
But
sore.
yeah, I'm just like, body hurts. Next
But
stop.
I don't know if hopefully I'll remember those things when, I start to do it again of like, okay, yeah, and I remember keep your weight on your back foot a little bit more. But like I said, I mean, it was all just brand new stuff for me. And as I've said in the past, I could be very hard on myself of like, why am I not learning this right now? Why am I not good? Why am I not the fucking best already? Because I hate not being good at things. And we've talked about this. This is where we've talked about being an adult and starting new things and why it's so uncomfortable, especially for somebody who, like me, has done a lot of sports a lot of my life and I started at a young age that I don't remember the learning process,
Yeah.
so
It
it
just
just,
happened.
yep, and then so thus it feels easy. And now when I learn something new, it's like I don't like being in the beginning
Yeah.
stages. I just want to be good and comfortable. But it
Yeah.
was I handled it a lot better than it, like I said, I have handled being in that situation in the past. So
Mhm.
like, cool, maybe I'm growing as a person.
Yay. Good job, Terrence.
Yeah, so it was good. I was glad to be get back home out of Sacramento, just busy, and I at least had a decent hotel because I used some credit card points to pay for half of it. So
Yay, baby.
yeah, I was like, all right, I didn't have to spend $170 to spend like $62 and felt like
Yeah.
I had a clean
Back
place.
town.
Yeah. But yeah, so what's been up with you this last week?
Um, I had a doctor's appointment, which is huge because I feel like I cannot remember the last
Oh,
time I went to the
sorry.
doctor.
He jumped up
But
backwards on me. What are you doing?
aside from like having an injury or like having something like obviously wrong, I just
Mhm.
haven't. Hi, Doga. I just hadn't had an appointment for just myself and my body. So I'm going to get a lot of blood work done, especially since that thing on my face has started to show up. I feel like I've talked about it on here. Um, and my doctor's young and a man. But I feel okay about him because it was just a virtual appointment and I have to go in 3 months for all over physical.
Oh, gotcha.
And I need to get a pap smear. So that's on my to-do list. My to-do list, not like anybody else's. Because I'm
Hard
keeping
to
track
put
of
that
other
on someone
people.
else.
What's that?
Hard to put that one on anyone else. You want to
That's
do
my
my pap smear?
vagina. That's mine vagina. Also, oh god. Okay, I feel like I have to share this embarrassing TMI story, which feel free to edit this one out.
Oh, no, let's hear it.
So before we started recording, I was talking to Taryn about my relationship with my son right now and how I feel like we're at this weird place and we're not syncing up. And I went and sat down next to him on the couch, spread eagle, like totally just like my stuff was in his area close by. And he was like, Mom, I'm sorry, but you're stinks. And I was like, what? And he was like, that.
Oh my God. That downstairs mix up.
It was like day 5, I think. I don't know. And yeah, he was like, yeah, your vagina stinks and you need to go take a wash.
Oh my God, that's fucking hilarious.
And I was like, yeah, I already told you that I needed to like wash my body.
You
So
need to
once
go
again,
take a wash.
feel free to edit that out, but if it goes out there, you know what? Great story.
Yeah.
Right?
What can you do? I mean,
I told him, but I also needed to sit down and talk to him about his science fair stuff and all of his other things today.
man, getting called out by your 7-year-old that you stink just in general is like, oh.
And then I'm so I have a group of mother girlfriends who we were like party friends at the Pussy Palace before we became mothers, and so now we're all mother friends in addition to the honorary uncles and aunties. And she told me that she was on her period and she was going to the bathroom and one of her twin toddlers came in and was like, Mom, you've got blood. You need a tamp for your butt. And then at the end of the text message that she shared about that scenario was, I miss privacy.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And I was talking to my therapist today about boundaries, and I think it's time to like really establish some boundaries, and not just like with Quincy, but like with a lot of my relationships, like a lot. I mean, it's just so wild how many feels are in an interaction that you don't even know, that you think about later, that you want to talk to somebody about, but it's just like a fart gone within the wind, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I totally get what you're saying. Where like if you're having a conversation or interaction with somebody and maybe you start to have feelings about whatever's happening, but you don't really know why or what is happening, then
or if
you walk
the other
away.
person caught onto the feelings.
Yeah.
You're
And
like,
then there's just a weird energy.
This really actually happened, and am I making a
actually have the place to myself for the first time in a really long time. I don't know. Andrew might be home pretty quick any kind of minute, but
yeah.
I've just been so busy on my weekends the last couple few whatever, I don't know, just gone and out of town. So I've also not had a day off to just chill and or get anything done, but Andrew's been doing a lot around the house, which has been really nice, like doing the dishes and just filling and emptying the tanks and stuff.
Up, Andrew? Good job.
Yeah, so that's felt like really well. Yeah, totally. Most of the dishes are usually like mine, I feel like too, because I just use a lot of dishes, but so I feel a little bit bad sometimes. But I'm just happy that he's doing them. And
he chose that. He chose it.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, like you were saying, it just having interactions with people, sometimes something happens, you have these feelings or whatnot, and you just don't even have time to register. Then later you're like, oh wait, that made me feel like really uncomfortable, and now I know why. So boundaries are just huge, and they're a hot topic. I think they've been a hot topic for a few years now. And with setting them and just having ownership, I guess, in them.
See this? That's a phone.
Who's majorly crossing some boundaries right now, and it's making me feel so many ways.
Oh no, boundary crosser.
You're crossing some boundaries, man. Kind of like how Boris crossed some boundaries.
Video. I'm doing a video.
These are the times where I'm like, oh, well, mine.
That's a video.
Mine don't have opposable thumbs.
Yeah,
which is good at times.
Or a vocabulary, or like conditioned things to do to parents, like annoy them. I always tell Quincy I'm annoying because I'm constantly being annoyed.
Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one.
Oh, okay, so we're double, triple being recorded.
God.
What were we talking about?
Stop moving.
Other than boundaries?
Stop moving.
Yeah,
Boundaries. I think they're a good topic, but like,
they are a great topic.
but it's like, I mean, what also what else is there to talk about besides set them,
Yeah.
set them and hold them. I'm not really good at either in any kind of relationship. It gets hard, especially because with friends, I feel like you get worried about hurting their, well, even any relationship, just don't want to hurt people's feelings. And sometimes setting boundaries, they might hurt people's feelings because if they don't understand why and they think it's them doing something wrong, you're like, no, it's not always that. It's just we had that great conversation with Caitlin and when I was there last, and we probably even talked about it on a podcast following up from my last visit, of how she's great at setting her boundaries and in her work life, of saying, if what you have to tell me is not related to work and it's like personal, like I just don't have the space to listen to that right now. And I just admire that so much. And even to, again, that gets hard to tell your good friends, right? If you were coming to me like, I have had a crazy week, I just need to talk and need to vent, and I didn't have a good week, and being able to tell you like, hey, I really care about you, but I just really don't have this space to hear all of your stuff right now because I'm trying to process mine. It's hard to say because you want to be there for your friend, and you don't know how it's going to be received until you deliver that news at least once, right? And then that friend can from there be like, thank you, or they start to ask you first, right? Like, oh my god, I really need to talk, like, how are you feeling today? Like, can I let some stuff on you, or whatever. And it's hard to do. We don't know. I mean, I think rarely anybody does it enough, but
I feel like we don't even do it with ourselves.
exactly.
And the most important conversation that should be had is with yourself. And then once you are aware of, oh, I need time to process this, or once you get more familiar with your feelings that you're having inside of yourself and why, then it makes it easier to deal with the world outside of you, because there's a lot of like conditioning and things that we have been learned and taught.
Absolutely.
We didn't know that was being put into our brain when we were
so much conditioning that is being broken, I feel like, with this upcoming generation that you're realizing. And as a lot of my friends are in therapy, and I think that's great, and I think that's breaking some conditioning where we were conditioned to think that therapy was a sign of weakness. Talking's a sign of weakness. Setting boundaries is a sign of weakness because it means you can't handle like anything at any time. But it's just, I need to set boundaries with myself for work, right? Like, I hate notifications on my fucking phone. I hate the little badges, so I check anytime an email comes in or text or message. I check it immediately. And that's not good. For one, the fact that sometimes I forget it's something I need to respond to, and if I check it at a time that I can't respond to it, then I forget about it. But also it's like, I do not fucking need to read my email at 10 p.m. And people can get on a whole nother tangent of you shouldn't be getting work emails at certain times of the day or whatnot. I don't care. I don't mind, because I just need to not look at them if I know it might affect me. And it might not. It might be something like, whatever, cool, someone just forwarded this, or on your day off, right? Everyone has different days off. So I can't be expected to not get emails or messages on my day off, but everyone just needs to know that I'm not going to respond because I don't work, and I'm not good at holding those boundaries. I will still respond.
Setting up boundaries is hard, dude.
Yeah, it is.
Like acknowledging them is hard. Being like, oh, I don't like that, and I have the power to like be like, hey, stop. I don't like that. What?
Yeah, power.
What a thing to think.
Right? It's all a work in progress, obviously, but I think starting small, right? starting to set small boundaries, or maybe big, but whatever. But I think working with small ones at least are maybe the way to go, because they're again going to be easier maybe for you to keep. And I don't even know what a small boundary really looks like, though. I guess
everybody is totally different. Everybody writes their own.
Yep, all relative for sure. But so if we were okay, this is totally like 90-degree turn or whatever. I just looked at my notes, like I didn't talk about last week. And it kind of goes off boundaries, because so I had a ladies' night with my girlfriends in the beginning of January. It was a full moon, and we went cross-country skiing at night under the full moon. It was so fucking good, so much fun. And a full moon is coming up here in the next probably week.
Yeah.
And so of course, like, we want to do it again. We're like, we should do this every fucking full moon of winter. Why not? Like, start a ritual habit. I don't have any of those, and I fucking
you're a witch.
Yeah, I want, as much as I want them, I don't, because every Wednesday is different. But if I could say every Wednesday I'm going out with my girls, like, cool, but it's just not gonna happen. But
Women Wednesdays.
Yeah. But every full moon, that's once a month. Maybe that's something that we can all stick to. And maybe I was like, dude, full moon, let's fucking come to my place. Let's go cross-country skiing. Let's howl at the damn moon. Like, fuck it. And so I think like a boundary is even to the fact of when you have something planned, like nothing else should be interrupting me. I'm not working, so why would I then answer this call, answer this email, talk about this, or allow something to interrupt it? I've set my boundaries, and so that could be relationships where you have an understanding that you both need your own personal time. Here's my boundary: is when it's ladies' night, I'm with them and not paying attention to you. I'll be home and pay attention to you. And by no means is Andrew like pestering me or something on this. This is almost like he needs to set boundaries for me instead of me like, where are you? What are you doing? Like, but it's just, I think practicing that within myself and appreciating and respecting that he gives me that space is like, okay, I need to be able to give that to him. And I do when he's doing something that matters. When it's just like a Wednesday and he's just at the bar, it's like different, right? But so
but hey, what might matter, what might be a big thing to you, maybe a small thing to him, and what might be a big thing to him is a small thing to you. Yes, so it's all about perspective too. And I don't think this is a 90-degree turn. I think that this is like full fucking circle.
Yeah, totally. Because like I said, even if it comes to, okay, in the morning sometimes, I don't really always allow myself time to go out and go cross country ski, because maybe if I'm going out by myself, I don't have a set time limit, and then I end up spending too much time like trying to get out the door. And then as soon as I'm out the door, all I'm thinking about is when I need to start work and what I need to do for the day. And like, set myself some boundaries is, hey, give myself 1 hour to do whatever the fuck it is. If I'm going cross country skiing, great. If I'm just sitting on my ass at home, fine. But my boundary is 1 hour. After that 1 hour, now I can shift gears, and now this is my focus. And I think that also can come down to things like that, a to-do list of only like must happen items, and just being able to stay focused, because knowing me, like, I can't stay focused. I have like 20 tabs open. I'm doing this. I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta email that person, or gotta text this.
Way life is nowadays. I feel like fucking same for fucking everyone. Doesn't matter. We're all wearing all the hats all the time because all the tabs are open, and
all the tabs are open on the screen and in your brain at all times in the middle of the night.
And people keep on talking about ADHD, and I think that correlates with our attention spans and screens and like what we've been fucking conditioned.
Exactly. And that's also, exactly what I was going to talk about.
Maybe like our priorities, boundaries, because I prioritize doing this podcast with you. I prioritize girlfriend time.
Yeah.
I prioritize family time, but that's only because I live with them. Just kidding.
No, you're
but also like I came home the other day from work and Murray and Quincy were home all day together, which that doesn't happen often. Like normally I'm at home with the kid. And he was like, he said something to Murray did. He was like, you could at least like pretend to be happy to see us. And I'm like, ugh. But Quincy came at me like right when I got in, and I was just like really taken aback by his excitement and energy and like what he was choosing to do to greet me. And yeah, I just like didn't come home with greeting eyes and words and body language. I don't know, like,
but that happens, right?
I didn't have the time to process it or be like, what's happening in my body? What's going on? You know, like
yeah,
all of it, always, all the time, man.
well, that's the thing. And okay, I feel that I've been Quincy to Andrew, where I've been home all day, I've been home with the dogs. He comes home from work and I'm like, oh cool, hey, hi, what are you doing? Okay, so are you ready? Let's go do this, let's go do something. He's like, fuck no, man, I just like worked for 10 hours outside in the heat, like give me a second. Which is why I understand like it's a little bit easier for him to decompress by getting a beer after work instead of coming straight home, because if I'm home then I'm like, yeah, let's go, I'm ready. So I'm working on that kind of myself, but obviously with a 7-year-old, okay, you can't really explain that, but it'd be hopeful that Murray would be like understanding, like, hold on, mom just got home, like let her like, you know, chill a second. But it's I do think priorities are boundaries, or like setting priorities is setting a boundary.
Dog. It totally is. It's like one and the same, but also not.
Yep, exactly. A rhombus is a square, but a square isn't a rhombus. It goes like that too, something like that, some kind of math thing. And it's the only thing I ever remembered about math, and I don't even get it.
90-degree turn is totally full circle.
Yep, absolutely. Just a few more 90s to get back, you know, just keep taking a left turn or just keep taking out all rights, you know, whatever. But
equal parts right.
So with writing things down, I mean, I have planners, I have notebooks everywhere, I write shit down, I make lists. Every beginning of the month I make or fill out my planner with all the days that I work and whatever, and then I just like forget about it. I used to use it very religiously when I was training clients in the gym, because I had it every day, and after every session, you know, I'd be talking to that client about when our next one would be or what our next week looked like or anything. So it was just much more useful. Now I'm not carrying it around like checking it every day, but I do feel like I want to fill it out every day and look at it, because that's what keeps me on track, to know that I use it a lot more on my phone, like setting reminders or even like Google Calendar things for even this. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm sending it to her just so we both can have the option to set notifications, because I'll put something in my calendar and I have it remind me depending on when I put it in or what it is, right? I can up to a week, or I'm like 2 days before, so that I remember on Tuesday not to decide to go out with the girls for a drink on Thursday because I've already committed to this and it's a priority of mine. So I don't want to move it around, but sometimes I just fucking forget what I have to do. So want to try to like use my calendar a little bit more and write things down. And I made a calendar even for me and Jackie for the gym. I actually made it last month and we just never, I was so busy with shit. It just wasn't realistic to try and plan that in. So now I've made it. It has like both our work schedules on it, and we will pencil in like weekly days we'd like to go to the gym, and we'll obviously have some flexibility depending on, you know, weather stuff, because I still priority is going to be snowmobiling or skiing.
Bro, when the snow gods call, you gotta go.
I at least know for the most part, because our schedules are so opposite, like if I plan to go Monday, so Monday I like work from home, so if I wanted to go snowmobile out the door in the morning for a couple hours, I know that I'm, you know, 10 minutes from the door or whatnot, come home, just start working from home. I don't have to account for travel time and getting ready for work and stuff like that. So it gives me more leeway to do that. So if I want to go plan to go snowmobile Monday, and then I wake up Monday and am not feeling good, or the weather's not great or whatever, most likely I'll be able to call Jackie and say, hey, not going out, so I can go to the gym. So it's more like an extra day.
Extra credit.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, that's good. I think I can still allow for time to do those things and like keep my commitment and accountability to her. So it's a good practice. And I do want to schedule, like we have a event next Monday that we're going to, So that's on the books. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. I'll send you guys calendar invites if we're going to go try to get drinks on Wednesday, because trying to manage like adult schedules is fucking stupid. Everyone's is so different. So that's just where I'm at in life, is I need to schedule like everything. I can't just be like, on a random Tuesday, let's go do this. I mean, I could, but you know, just depends. I might not, but if I schedule it, I'll do it.
Priority list, or like, and like priorities happen randomly too, and that's okay.
And it just helps also for me, if I'm able to set something on the calendar, then I think it helps me throughout the week stay on task with other things, because I'm like, I know I have time set aside for myself and for fun, like on this day. So I can focus a little more on this night. I can go home on Tuesday night and make dinner and chill, because, you know, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I've got, you know, stuff going on or whatnot. So it's just who I am, I guess, is writing things down and planning things out as much as
adults now, Taryn.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I lived in spontaneity before, I still always did like a plan, but now even more is like, I gotta fucking plan it at least the night before. Like, you got like not 10 p.m. the night before. Like, you gotta text me at like 6 and be like, you want to go do something in the morning? Yes. Because I gotta already mentally get ready. And like I said, like, okay, where's my breakfast? Like, get my smoothie ready, like lay out my clothes. Like, because I am not getting up at 5 a.m. and doing it all. So yeah. Boundaries, plans, priorities, all the fucking things. Yeah.
Pre-planning to the planning.
So I did
a lot of mental load. That's heavy.
Yeah. But that's why writing things out in a calendar, writing them down, takes some of that away, because then it's just another way that it gets ingrained in your mind, is by writing it out too. And you don't have to be so stressed of like, oh, am I remembering this? Or like, no, I wrote it down, so it's fine. Or like you said, even putting it in your phone and reminders. Like, I put reminders into, they don't always help, right? But like today, like at 2:00, I was like, okay, send this email so I can stop what I'm doing. Like, I wanted to finish what I'm doing, but I knew that this was important. And if I didn't stop to make sure it got done, then it may have gotten forgotten about.
Big rock.
Yeah. So, and I knew it was just going to sidetrack me for 5 minutes. So I was like, okay, do that. And then right back to the task. And like, that is like so fucking helpful. But yeah, I'm just a person with 5 alarms a day of like, oh, do this. This is basically like set your alarm to take a shit. I mean, fuck.
Gotta pencil it in, man.
Yeah.
Those shits don't come.
But anyway, I mean, I think that's pretty much all I've got. February is, like I said, looking pretty thin for me, which is good. I'm hoping, I don't know if this weekend will really be relaxing either, because it's the regional tournament for wrestling, and I should really fucking go on Saturday, but Andrew's mom is off and was talking about wanting to maybe go cross country skiing, and I'm like, oh my god, like I would like to do that. I would really like to do that, but so, and I'm also we're going to a 40th birthday party Saturday night, so I'm like, Sunday shot, I know we're gonna party. This group, the group of people that we're going to celebrate and that will be there, I know party hard. So we already have a plan that we're going to breakfast on Sunday. Sunday's just gonna be a wash of a day. I ain't doing shit. I ain't doing any activities, not folding clothes. So
that's called self-care.
Yeah. So I'm like, man,
time is fucking self-care, man.
Yeah. Yep. But anyways, yeah, like I said, okay, now I think I can wrap it all up. And I did send an email to Carrie Williams, the lady who did the boxing and barbells course, and asked her if she maybe would want to be on the podcast. I haven't heard back or anything, but that was on my list, to my big rock list, is to send a few more emails today about getting some guests back on here soon, so we can, just start to integrate more conversations.
Yay, with the ladies and the lens. Sorry, Mom drank whiskey tonight. I don't even fucking know what I'm talking about, but everyone should sign up for Music League.
Oh my god, we didn't talk about that, because
so fucking fun and everyone should do it. And I'll start a league here once I figure out how to actually do this thing. But anyways, Music League is an app where you invite your friends to join a league. And within that league, you post different categories of song choices. So some of the categories from this league that I did was live versions of a song from a band that you saw live. And then another one, which I didn't understand that assignment. I missed some of the words on that. I kind of botched it. So I feel really proud about it.
But wait, anyway. So what do? You sing the song or you find the song?
You submit them through Spotify. So you submit these songs where you have these categories like a live version of a song from a band that you saw live.
Mm-hmm.
And another one was one that would post a song that would make you get up on the dance floor in a middle school dance. Or songs that give you goosebumps was another category. And so you post the song that strikes you for this category. And then you have a group of buddies that you either know personally or don't know personally. And then people vote on these songs. And then once the voting is closed, then you see all the finalists and what their points were, and you get ranked. And it's just really fun. And I learned a lot about music this week. And I've been listening to an array of music and been introduced to new bands. And yes, it's just been really fun, especially learning the history of some songs like Strange Fruit, the song Strange Fruit by Billie Holiday, which there's also a show on Hulu about like her journey with wanting to sing that song. It's a song about, do you know the history of this song?
Not at all.
It's kind of deep, but appropriate time to do it because it is Black History Month. So happy Black History. But the song Strange Fruit is about when people used to be hung in trees during the slavery era. And so that's what I posted for my song that gave me goosebumps, because that song gives me fucking goosebumps.
Wow, yeah.
Documentary on Hulu is about her journey through having the space to play this song, and how much it meant to her, and like just the beauty behind it. And it's such a good song. We should play it for the
oh yeah,
IDK, but it's just such a historic part of slavery and Black history and the history of America, and it's such a beautiful song. And
maybe we can link it in the show notes, because just with playing stuff, I'll like trademark.
We'll have to figure it out. We'll figure it out.
We'll put it in the show notes for sure, to like link to Spotify or something if you're not familiar with the song itself and want to hear it. And we can link like that documentary and whatnot too.
Yeah, because it is fucking Black History Month, and it is a part.
Is that on? Do you know the documentary? Is it on Netflix or?
On Hulu.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll find. And I mean, even if we just like link to the documentary on Google or something, or write the name in, that people would be able to find it on whatever platforms they can. Because I want to look that up now for sure. That's crazy. Yeah, that would give me goosebumps. I want to that, and the whole Music League thing I was gonna say is like, that's a great way to learn history about music and be introduced to new music, or find some reason behind songs. Or music is just so powerful. It's crazy that even these happy-go-lucky type songs, when you actually listen to the lyrics at times, like, oh whoa, that's not how I interpreted the lyrics or something, because of the beat or whatever it may be. I've always kind of wished I was a songwriter, because it's just the way that songs can make you feel. It's just like, you just can't explain it at times. I'm like, wow, I wish I could make people feel that way with words.
Yeah. I also learned that not everybody was an emo kid.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I had no fucking idea. I thought everyone was a goddamn emo kid.
I think a lot of the early 2000s kids were, for sure, but yeah.
But not all.
Not all at all.
Okay, so I looked it up, and the documentary is on Hulu, and it's called The United States versus Billie Holiday, and it was made in 2021, which I was going to say is last year, but it's not.
God, yeah, crazy 2 years, but yeah, I'll try to remember to link that in there, which this will take, we got to do a little bit of editing, so it'll take, it probably won't be out tonight, but it might not even be out till Monday, but
sorry about that. It's your freaking weekend.
Not your fault. I dropped my microphone.
Also, life happens, and we're all over the place, so whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like also, boundaries and priorities.
Boundaries and priorities. Speaking of, Hillary's hopefully going to call me here soon when she gets off work. I haven't talked to her much over the last few weeks as I have been busy, and then her parents were visiting, so I was just trying to give I was like, well, I don't want to try and start conversation with her because it's not going to really go anywhere. She's busy. And so I just wanted her to enjoy every minute she had with her family down there. So I was just trying not to bother her. And she messaged me this morning on my way to the gym. And I'm like, man, it's really hard. It's hard to be away from your friends, for one, but at least we're in the same time zone. It makes things a lot easier to be able to schedule. She is now 4 hours ahead, and it is so hard to find time to talk. And so we rely just on texting, and that just doesn't convey emotions or feelings. And you get tired of texting novels when something goes on or something you need to talk about. And so I just, I'm like, oh my God, so happy that I didn't have that other Zoom so that I can hopefully be able to at least talk to her for a little bit, be like, hi, hello, you're alive, I'm alive, because it'll be like 10:30 her time.
I was just doing the math on something.
Yeah, she's just getting off work in the restaurant here soon, probably, but yes, all right, so hopefully we hear back from some folks, get some people on the books, like I said, to start integrating some interviews. And as always, if there's anything that anyone out there wants to hear, wants to talk about, good subjects or people to interview or whatever, feel free to send us a message on Instagram. It's just the easiest way, I think, whether it's individually or the podcast Instagram, so we can start to kind of just give the people what they want. Also, if we're gonna do what we want to do, so and so with that, we will talk to you all later. Thank you.
Good day, Chief.
Good night. We hope you enjoyed this episode and would do us a huge favor, since we don't have any sponsors or anything like that, and would rate and review us on whatever platform it is you use, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, whatever it is. And if you're listening and downloading just through the website, tearingituppodcast.com, leave comments. We'll definitely engage back with you. And on social media right now, we're just on Instagram. Tearing It Up Podcast is the handle. Like the post, share the post, comment on the post, whatever it is you got. Show us your love so we just stay relevant and show up in the rankings at all. So again, rate and review, please. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.